This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Stanley the Manly.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year.
Oh, they wouldn't find employee
might have considered it so
hanging in a fucking
Stanley
toilet.
relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly
shoved
for
up
this
my
job.
ass.
And Stanley was happy.
Fuck, could anybody be happy? Just.
And then one
I
day,
guess
something
that's
very
inside all day
peculiar
push buttons,
happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget.
Never.
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow.
Oh my God, he might have to
one
actually
showed
think
up
for
to give
himself.
him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Let's see. Clock is right. Pretty normal office.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Where is the meeting room?
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Plant. There are traces of my coworkers. I just want to point that out. There's a cup of coffee on that desk. Looks like employee 432 has been let go. 431, he's got a cup of coffee too. So I mean, there's traces, and there, you know, PC load letter. The fuck does that mean? Let's see. Oops. I can't. Okay, well, can't turn it back on. You hear that, voiceover guy? I definitely did not touch the computer. Definitely. Well, I'm not gonna touch that one because we saw what happened. Let's see, there's traces. A lot of scratch marks on the desk. Like these. That's a little weird. Like they're box. I wanna go box. What about the yellow box? What's in the box? What's in the fucking box? Let's see. I hate Mondays too. Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
I did. This is exactly what I wanted to do. This is how I'd probably react if the voices in my head were actually telling me what to do. Yeah, I'm gonna hang out in the lounge.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring.
Yeah.
It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend
What
a
is it
few
with
moments
video
here
game-
in this
$1.25
immaculate,
for a can
beautifully
of soda.
constructed room. Stanley simply
Outrageous.
stood here, drinking it all in.
Drinking it all in for $1.25. He ain't even got $1.25. Who the fuck has a buck?
Yes, really worth it being here in the room.
Yeah.
A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some
Are you
paintings.
fucking belittling
Really
me,
worth it.
voice? You're fucking doing that. fucking pompous ass.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Hey, fuck you! It ain't my fault. A lot of coffee mugs and shit in here. There's traces of employees!
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue. But when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
This is fucking hilarious.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
What if... You know what? I'm gonna ignore you again. I'll do what I want.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Oh, what the fuck is this place? Let's try the door first. Try door number 1. Oh, that's a keypad lock. What if I could play with the baler or something? Wait. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift, $1,000. Penalties for jumping off the cargo lift, $5,000. Do not jump from the cargo lift while it's in motion, will cause death. Dare I?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Well,
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
But
there's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
Me?
Someone you've forgotten about.
Me?
Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
For her?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Who? Alright, well. It's darker than hell in there.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Mike's Pull Hall 8-ball speaking. What the...
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha.
You fucking prick.
Come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
What you're trying to get me to see is that you're a deceptive little asshole and I shouldn't have been listening to you to begin with. And let's not rule out
This is a very
I'd
sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
What? Press J on your... Alright.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Jesus. Okay.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
What the fuck?
Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
I didn't choose it.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands.
All right, yeah.
It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Jesus. What if I hit T? What if I hit Q or A? Anything but P. I guess I'll hit P.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he
Where'd the
imagined
goddamn
that one day
TV go?
while
It
at
turned
work,
into a
he stepped
filing
up from
cabinet.
his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Spend time. All right, I'll spend time with
So
them.
he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
They are kind of.
As he wandered through
What the
this
shit
fantasy
is
world,
happening?
he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that
What am I in
weaved in many
1984?
directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
I don't have kids.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head, he relived it again.
My
and then
office- this is
again,
turning
and
into my
again,
office.
Over and over, wishing
slowly
beyond hope
turning into
that it
my
would
office.
never end, that he might
Isn't
always
it?
feel this free.
I wanna know where
Surely
my
there's an
TV
answer
went.
down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
But we just established I don't have a
But there
wife.
is no answer.
I am at my
How
office.
could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets. The more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world, he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
I'm not doing it. But not because you told me not to, because I don't want to. I'm not gonna push it. I am my own man. I'm not gonna push the fucking button. Not gonna do it. You really want me to push that button, don't you? Look at that. Look at that. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna push the goddamn button. I got all the time in the fucking world. You're not the boss of me, voice. I'm Stanley the Manly, and I'm not going to push the goddamn button. I don't know if the game's just going to stop if I don't push the button, though. What if I push other buttons? Yeah, I'm not pushing the button. I'm not pushing V. V is for Vendetta. We're going to turn my computer on. We're going to get back to work, even though I'm at home. You're insisting that I push the button to continue, aren't you? I don't want to push it just because you told me not, or told me to push it, or told me not to. But if I do the opposite of what you tell me to do, then I am doing it on my own. But are you telling me to hit the button because I'm supposed to hit the button? This game is a fucking contradiction. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to press it. Not going to do it. I really want to push the button. I'm not going to lie to you. I really want to hit the button, but I'm not. Fine.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Well, I'm not pressing that. Let me out of here. Let me the fuck out of here. I don't want to...
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps,
Really dark
maybe
in my
this time
office.
he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried...
What the fuck just happened?